The earth breathes deep and lets us go. A girl smiles bright, then off she goes. Love fills us up and then no more. The waves roll in and off they go. Sadness is here and here no more. The sun comes out and then it snows. The land is dead and then it grows. We can't go on, but here we go. Content at last, and there that goes. And so we battle, trading blows. An old soul dies, a new babe grows. Time comes quick, and then it slows. Our life comes, and there it goes. Waves roll in, and off they go. Looking to discover your own inner genius? 5 minutes, 30 days, one life changing question. Grab a copy of the $1,000,000 Genius Question to activate your genius right now. It's in the description. Hey, this is Nilofer Safdar, author, summit host, coach, healer, and Genius Activator. And you're tuned in to the Genius Activator podcast. This is a show where every week I bring in the geniuses who spend their whole life in the boundless realm of genius. We discover and share their journeys, their genius stories, and we also collect some cool tips from them on how you can spend more of your lives in your zone of genius where creativity flows. Today's guest is Shyamala Rao, who wants women everywhere to be able to live authentic, stress free lives full of clarity and purpose and live the best half of their life. She's come to realize that her purpose is to flatten that learning curve for women coming after her. Her journey took more than 10 years for her to understand herself and her path. And while she's aware that there's no shortcut to enlightenment, she's not okay with women missing the best years of their lives and dimming their light because no one was there to show them the path. Welcome to the show, Shyamala. I'm so happy to have you. It's so wonderful to connect, and especially, to find someone who lives in my own hometown back home in India. Hi, Shyamala.
Yeah, namaste. Thank you for having me, Nilofer. Indeed, it is beautiful that we both are from India, Hyderabad. Yeah, Hyderabad, India. That's beautiful and lovely to connect with you here. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful to have you. I find that the world is such a small place. And, whether you are living in Australia and I'm living in Abu Dhabi, we all are from the same place. And right now, in this moment of the time space continuum, we are connected on Zoom. Isn't it amazing what modern technology has allowed us to do? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. So, Shamala, this show is all about activating your genius. And for every person, there comes that one moment of time when, they have that moment of insight or epiphany, and they just step into a different life, or they make a choice to step into that life. So, what was that moment for you?
We're starting with a heavy question already. Oh my goodness.
No, I like to
But
push
that's
people
good.
into the deep end right from the
Deep end at the
get-go.
beginning. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, I think coming from an Asian background and being raised in a family where patriarchy is big and the girl childs are either revered too much or are just not embraced at all. So there are two extremes I feel in the um, Asian families of the girl child. And for me, I was a girl child who came into the family after a lot of prayers, at least from my mom's side, after two brothers. So we siblings, we have three of us. And so I was a girl child. I was really pampered. I was pampered silly by my mom, by my dad, so everything was easy for me. And if anything, as a girl, I wanted to seek, it was provided. I just had to ask and it was given to me, and things like that. And my dad was a very, very intelligent man, spiritual man. And so he was there for me to go to whenever I needed any solutions or any suggestions or anything. He was my go to man. He was my man. And then in 2002, 2003, he fell ill. He had a brain stroke, and from there, he kind of not was doing, he wasn't doing very well. And that's where I realized, I think the tables turned for me there, that I don't have anybody to who is looking after me, but then I have to look after myself and also look after him. Not that I really needed to look after him in physical or financial way, but then somehow that was the shift when he fell ill. Everything just broke loose for me. And I think that's where the shift happened, that, okay, now you can't be dependent on your father forever. And now you need to be his caregiver. And from there, I was then searching, who am I? What am I really wanting? And then that's from where my spiritual journey began, of understanding what is my dependence to him, why do I depend on him so much, and how can I now be self-reliant? But who am I in the first place itself to be any other person? I need to know myself, and that's where it started. A long answer.
Isn't it
Yeah.
amazing? Like we have those three little words, who am I? But, it just takes you like how many letters, six letters to write those three words. But, it can be a lifelong journey, probably a journey of several lifetimes, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's not that I've discovered myself, I'm still on the path. And I like what you said, Nilofer. It's a journey of life, many lifetimes, not just a life. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I get a sense we've been on this journey for a pretty long time, isn't it?
you bet, you bet.
Okay. So Shyamala, like, I know that, apart from this one moment of epiphany when, you realize that, your dad was no longer he no longer had the capacity to be your mentor, that one pivotal moment in your life. And when you started on your journey, what are some of the things that you discovered along this journey? Because really, it's not a destination, right? It's a journey. So what are some of those pivot, those, I would say, moments in your journey which kind of stand out for you?
Yeah, so if you see, that was 2002, 2003. So it's like 20 years back. So the first thing, and my family is a very orthodox South Indian or a Telugu speaking family. So we have a lot of, and we were the upper caste, so to say. So we had the chip in the shoulder on the shoulder that we were the best caste wise. And so we were to do so many things. There was so much of caste discrimination, that was not only for my family, but I guess at that time it was like you can't take the maids to this thing. You can't treat maids in the same pedestal as you are, or you can't go and eat somewhere where there is non-veg cooked. And those were the things that were coming up all through the childhood. So now I started questioning, why is all that? And I wanted to be an antithesis of all that. Or you need to pray, you need to go to visit a temple. And even at home, at the altar, there were some rituals that you needed to follow. You can't get into the altar without having a bath, or you can't do this. There were so many do's and don'ts around. And then I was like questioning myself as to, isn't spirituality all about discovering your connection with the divine? And why are there so many boundaries or so many restrictions laid? Who lays this? Why? And especially from the girl child, how it was like when you're menstruating, you're not supposed to go into the temples, or You're not supposed to be touching anything that is very sacred, or pickles which last long. Don't touch them. Don't go to the temples. Don't offer anything to the women, other married women, things like that. So that was where I was questioning all that. And so I started off on a meditation. I started on a meditation to understand. And I'm glad that the first retreat, so to say, if I may, when I went into an ashram, which gave me the essence of how we are made up of different layers, from the grossest to the subtlest, and we call them as a pancha pranas. So how we are just subtler, gross, physical body is the grossest, then is your life force body, and then is your emotional body, then is your mental body, then is your energy. So these, we just go subtler and subtler, dimension wise as well, if you see. And then, so those are the things when we just understood, there was some sense of connection happening. And from there, I took to yoga in a big way. And even now, I teach yoga. I teach about 15, 16 classes in a week. So then I gravitated towards yoga, and I love yoga so much. Yoga gives me so much of sense of belonging, and I feel that it gives me the answers every time in its own strange ways. Yoga gives me all the answers, either for me or for my clients. They just mysteriously just fit into the place. So that's where I really went into yoga, not only as a yoga postures, but there are so many other aspects of yoga which we're not aware of on a day-to-day basis. And that's what then became my quest to share this knowledge about yoga and aspects of yoga other than just the postures.
So when you work with women and you help them live authentic, stress-free lives, when you help them find their clarity and purpose, what are some of the tools that you use to maybe start them off on the journey?
Oh, beautiful. Thanks for asking that, because that is again a very signature program which I run. And I'm um, do what we do is, my program uses a model called Imbibe the Magic. So these are both our acronyms, but that's the model based. That's a signature model which I have developed over my experiences, based on my experiences. So what we find is, we have, all of us, not gender specific, but we have the masculine energy and the feminine energy within us. So the masculine energy makes us do things, plan out things, execute things, though that's the masculine aspect. And there is this feminine aspect in us, which is like being, just being in a place, in your zone, in your flow, where things just happen effortlessly. You don't even have to plan. And we do it without even putting in a lot of effort, and most of the day. So if you look at it on an 24 hours, I think at least about 80% of the time we are just doing things without even putting any effort to it. Like when we wake up from the bed, we don't say, oh, now I have to open my eyelids. Oh, now I have to step my feet onto the ground. Then I put my weight onto the bed and then I have to lift up. These just happen. All that subconscious things that happen. Those are all the feminine aspects. So many a times when there are challenges for us, um, even if we look at it in our bodies, there is a challenge only when there is a disbalance, imbalance. When there is an imbalance, when either we are too feminine or too masculine, there and there is no balance, that's where things become challenging. If we are too masculine, then we really don't know what we want, why we want. We just then keep doing things because we see everybody else around us doing and we think that's the norm. Or if we are too feminine, then we want somebody else to tell us what to do so that we can start doing. So you see, there is a not a balance. So for us to have a balance of both the feminine and the masculine, in not equal quantities, but whatever your ratio is. Your ratio could be 70-30, 60-40, 50-50, 45-55, whatever that be. I mean, we're not getting into the formulae there, but we need to balance out the feminine and the masculine. And the feminine you'll only be able to balance when you discover, go within and see what is your source communicating with you. So, what's the source of your body communicating with you? What is the breath communicating with you? Once you understand. So, imbibe is the feminine aspect of us. So, that stands for integrating your mind, your intellect, your body, your breath, and the energy. So that's what it is, integrating of that. And magic is again the masculine part of it. Magic, again, as an acronym, stands for things like which we need to plan and execute. So, measurable, actionable goals done in a consistent manner. So that's where it is. So I want us to bring a balance, be aware of our masculine energy, be aware of the feminine energy, and bring them together to a place of balance.
And also there is the time for the feminine, and then there is the time for the masculine, right? So
Yeah,
as only when you have that balance do you know where, what requires you to be in the feminine mode, what requires you to be in the masculine mode. And also I find that when you are in that state of balance, it's like the actions are so effortless, right?
absolutely.
It isn't a struggle, it's not where you're working hard or any of that. And yeah, I love it, I love it. Thank you for sharing. So when you begin working with women, you start with the imbibe your magic model, like the feminine masculine things. And so what are some of the changes that you have noticed in the women who come to you? Like where do they start from, and once they go through your program, where do they come out?
Yeah, I'm glad. I call that as my kitchen. The program is like a kitchen. You can dish out a Chinese, an Italian, or a continental, or an Indian um, spread, but you have to start from the kitchen, and the ingredients are the same. So I help women. They could be, so the challenges could be anything. One is they just don't know what they're doing with their life. They feel that there's something missing in their lives. And so I normally work with women over 40. So I feel that they sometimes at that time, being the empty nesters or getting towards the empty nester zone, they then don't really know what they want to do, but they know that they're missing out something. They're not really doing. So it could be that, or it could be people who are just not health wise in their best shape, and they want to be in a best shape, or they're not happy with the relationships they have either at home with the partners or the children or the parents, or they're not just having a great relationships with the colleagues at work, or they could be either transitioning from one place to the other in terms of career. Oh, I have worked in the corporate world, like me when I was working in the corporate world, and now I want to start something on my own. So how do I transition? So these are the four places that I really focus my energies on, where you really don't know where you're going, or you're having challenges in your health, or it is in your career, or it is in your relationships. So wherever you are, come from there. And I feel that the most of the challenges are situated because of the third layer, or the emotions, or what we call as the manomaya kosha, the emotions that we attach to each of them. We have a misplaced identity there. We think that we want something because of a reason, but if we just look back, we go inwards, then we realize that A is not the reason, but the reason is something which is more emotional. So want us to get into their, so I help my clients to get into their own story. Many a times they don't know the stories that they talk about
And
themselves.
most people are not really connected to their emotions, aren't they?
Yeah,
And because we are not connected to our emotions, what actually occurs is you will have these imbalances going on in all different areas of your life. Primarily, in the physical body, a lot of times you don't even know what is causing that. And only when you go a little bit deeper into it, you realize it's not a back pain due to some kind of physical thing, but it's a back pain due to maybe
a
that.
lot of fears are stored in the back. Yeah,
Exactly. Or
yeah,
maybe it could be, some memory from some incident which occurred 20 years ago,
trauma.
or any of that. It's very interesting to find that correlationship between that. So, and it's amazing, isn't it? Once you start doing this kind of work and you start going deeper and deeper, it becomes an entry point into, finding their inner mojo, right?
Yeah, so that's where you figure out why you're not able to shed that weight, or why you're not able to keep the relationships in the you. Your ideal relationship status is here, but in reality, you're here. So why is that mismatch? And once you understand, I always say, in is the way out. You need to go in to find your answers. But we normally do just the opposite. Oh, I can't, my sugar levels are high. So you GP tell me what to do. You dietitian tell me what to do. You gym person tell me what to do. Yes, they are all important. But first is you listen to your body, because body will tell us everything. So you listen to you, and then everybody else will be there to support you. If you become a parasite, it doesn't work. You want a symbiotic relationship with your world, not a parasitic relationship.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, Shamala, do you have some tools, some simple tools that you can share with our listeners, which allow them to kind of go deeper inwards and, start off the process?
Oh, certainly, certainly. I can share that. And the best part I want us is to be just be aware of the feminine self and not be in the masculine all the time. So, and in fact, the nature has provided us with those tools themselves. Sun, when the sun is up, it's all masculine energy. When the moon is up, it's all the feminine energy. So just take that time, at least in the evenings, to tap into that feminine energy. Just tap into that feminine energy. And that is one way of looking. Just look at the nature, just step out. If it's not very cold, of course, in Australia, it's not so cold, so it's all right. Just at the dusk or at the dawn or anywhere in between the dusk and the dawn, spend 5 minutes in quietness in outside. That's about it. If you want, go for a walk, but otherwise, even if you sit there with your eyes shut, just remember, feminine energy is all like a moon energy. So you want yourself to be in a dark place, in a quiet, peaceful place. What is symbolic of nights? Nights is dark, nights is quieter, nights are calmer, nights are slower, night are relaxing, night are unwinding. So just look at your life every time and see, how can I bring these? You need to introspect a little, ask yourself the questions, but please ask yourself the right questions. What can I do to bring out the night aspects into my life? At this point, if you're struggling with any challenge, at this point, if you're just hyperventilating and you're feeling anxious, then look at what kind of a night environment will work for you. And then just create that night environment for yourself. That's where feminine energy kicks in. Feminine energy kicks in, it'll find its solution. It is easy if you just look at it at one aspect, but the other aspect, it just needs a little bit of tuning of yourself to allow that energy to flow in.
You know, it's really interesting that you're saying this. And as you were saying, I could really see that picture. So recently, we were in the desert, and just last weekend we spent at a resort in the deserts of Ras Al Khaimah. So it was really, this whole spread out desert, and we had these little cottages that we were living in, and gazelles and oryx, they were roaming around all over the place. And like, I woke up early in the morning, 5 o'clock, to go out for a walk, and there was this bunch of gazelles, were just outside our cottage, and it was just beautiful. And so I had that experience of going for a walk early in the morning when it was still, that dawn, it was still dark. And then slowly the sun came out, and, everything changed there. And then that same night, we went out for a walk at night, when it was the night time, and this practice that you were talking about, I remember that night, when we were out and we were going out for a walk. And I love spending time in nature, and I always go out for a morning walk. But that day, when we were out at night, it was such a different experience. And what you were talking about, I could really relate to it, that yes, it was all the feminine aspects of it. And what a beautiful practice. I'm definitely, going to play with this practice, even though
Oh,
I live in
and let me know. I would really love to know if what are the changes coming up. Yeah, as we go deeper, different layers of ours start getting subtler, and then we get more perceptive and more lighter in the
so is
as
it
a soul.
like, even if you're in the city or something, you can still go do this? There's no, like, maybe sit in the balcony and just be in the night.
Yeah, just create that night atmosphere, whatever it takes. Just looking at those stars, looking at that, whatever night can create for you. Yeah, just, yeah. Anyway, sit in the balcony or just step out of your apartment if you're in an apartment and go for a walk. Yeah,
Exactly, yeah, I
wherever you are, you can definitely go for a walk unless it's a very snowy, stormy night. But that's, yeah, otherwise just be out in the nature and tap into your feminine. That's all that is important. Tap into your feminine, and the best way to do is simulate your mind into that night energy. What does that night offer? That's all feminine. See, we can heal our bodies, right? Most of, not just us, but even the animal kingdom can heal their own bodies. But we, because we live from our headspace, are not able to heal our bodies as well as the animals or the plants even can heal. And when do they heal? They heal when in the night when you're sleeping. Why do we sleep in the night? Because that time your muscles, your nerves, your breath, your blood, all of them just come to their optimal level. And when all of these are at an optimal level, that's when the body can fix itself. It's like if your car engine is running, you can never fix your vehicle when the engine is running. You need to turn the engine down to fix whatever needs to be fixed. The body needs these parameters at an equilibrium or at a normal default for it to start healing. And that's why we sleep. We are forced to sleep. Our body tells us, now you sleep. Otherwise, I can't repair myself. And what happens if you don't sleep? So the body wants to sleep, the body wants to heal itself, but give that time. And for us to give that time, we need to be more in the feminine zone.
I love it. Thank you so much, Shamala, for sharing this wonderful practice, and also, your insights into, stepping into the mojo and the masculine, feminine. It was absolutely brilliant. So, how can people connect with you? If they want to know more about what you do and how you can help them?
Yeah, so I offer programs, online programs. So irrespective of where you are, you can definitely do my programs because they are a hybrid model where most of them we do interactions in on a Zoom, and also some study material that you can read up and then come to the live sessions and exchange your experience, share your experiences or exchange your thoughts on things. And and the best place I would think is to start off by joining my group. I have a Facebook group where I also interact and share these thoughts of mine as often as I can. And it is called as the Activate Your Feminine Mojo, and it's a free Facebook group. So any women who want to really find their true north and activate their mojo, activate their aliveness, can come and join.
Thank you so much, Shyamala. It was wonderful, wonderful to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for
A
listening.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening, you guys. And until next time, live your whole life in the boundless realm of your genius. I'm Nilofer, your Genius Activator coach, and I will see you next week. And remember to get your copy of the $1,000,000 Genius question to activate your genius right now. 5 minutes, 30 days, one life changing question. It's in the description.